Hello, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of From Us to You, US Gamers Video Podcast. I'm Mike Williams, your host for this week. And if you haven't tuned in with us before, the format from Us to You is each of our illustrious guests gets 10 minutes to explain all of their topics, which are chosen completely at random. I'm here with Kat Bailey.
Hey, everybody.
Bob Mackey.
Hello.
And Nadia Oxford.
Hello, I don't have a Koopaling, I'm sorry.
Well, I feel like behind me it's so boring. I needed something in the frame.
What?
We can't
what?
all have vintage Nintendos, I know.
Is that Ludwig? Which
This is
Larry,
Larry
I think.
Koopa.
Larry?
Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Come
Look,
on, guys.
man,
You're fired.
man, I don't know. Ludwig is the one with the
The crazy
wings
hair.
like hair. Gotcha. Okay.
Video game journalists are judged by their gaming skills and their knowledge of the Koopalings.
Yeah, you better
Yeah.
know all 8 in which order, or you're no friend of mine.
So I guess I'm done, guys. This is my last time
Get
as,
outta here.
as host as a game
Send your
journalist.
your
I'm sorry.
resignation.
Especially at US Gamer, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all you Nintendo fans. Oh,
I can
Bob's
do it.
going.
Me, teacher, me. Yes. Hi, everybody. I am reviewing the video game Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan. The review should be up right now, but I did want to talk a little bit about it in case you want some extra commentary from more than just me. And so here goes. It's basically the coolest thing I think about the game, although I have kind of cooled down on it from when I first started playing, is that we are getting a licensed console game, and that does feel like a rarity. I
That's
feel
so
like everything.
Mm.
Everything that's licensed, any kind of movie or cartoon property, is turned into a mobile game because that's where
Yeah.
the kids are going first for games.
Usually a mobile bubble popper.
Exactly, yeah, or some free-to-play paywall gated crap that kids are going to use their parents' credit cards to torture them. But yeah, it does feel rare to get a real console licensed game. If you think about the major superhero movies that have been coming out, none of them have
Mhm.
console games. I think the last console superhero game was Iron Man 2. And that
Wow.
was maybe 6 years ago, so
And it
it's
was
cool to
so
see.
bad. It killed
I
that
bet it was.
studio.
Oh, which studio was that?
Whoever made it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yes, I guess they didn't go down in with
They're-
glory then.
They're ashes and
No.
shadows now, whoever they are.
But yeah, this is part of Platinum's sort of work for hire kind of thing they've been doing lately. They did The Legend
Mhm.
of Korra. They did Transformers Armada, I think it was called. Is that
Devastation.
correct? Devastation, got it. I know there
right,
was some
Devastation.
multi-syllable word that followed the title. And now they're doing Ninja Turtles, and it's an okay game. That's what I'll say. I was a little happier with it before. Here's the thing: I played a lot of licensed games, having been playing video games for 30 years, and the nicest thing I could say about it is it could be much worse. But the tragedy of it is that the platinum quality, the platinum spark is in the game. It exists in the game, but I feel like I want to see a Ninja Turtles game where they're given the time and resources as something like Bayonetta 2, because
Oh, wow.
every one of those levels in Bayonetta 2 is a unique and exciting set piece that you never see again. In Ninja Turtles, it's a lot of cut and paste level design. There's basically 2 types of levels you go through, and just a lot of really repetitive action and stuff like that. So I feel like to have Platinum work on something and then not let them do what they do best is kind of a tragedy. But again, their original IP does not make money for them. They do not really profit off of that original IP, so they have to do these games to make things like Bayonetta and Scalebound and things like that. So yeah, I mean, that's my take. Did you guys have any say on the Ninja Turtles game? Do you care? Are you interested in the fact that we have a real licensed console game, a $60, I believe, really overpriced console game for the amount of content in this thing?
Goes to show how much the video game industry has changed in the past
Yeah.
6 years. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
the GBA subsisted, its lifeblood was licensed games. They weren't all good,
Oh, God,
but
yeah.
how much money did THQ make off those Nickelodeon licensed games for the GBA and the like?
Oh,
Probably a lot, because all the
yeah.
kids were buying GBAs because mobile games didn't exist. Now all the young kids are playing on iPads and all that, and naturally, all of the licensed people are going where they belong, and I think that hurts Nintendo. That came out
I like
strangely.
how passive aggressive that was, Kat. You are from Minnesota.
Get out of here.
Frankly, they're where they belong. What you said with a smile.
In hell, burning.
We're sorry we derailed your. It was a beautiful, almost Canadian style.
Now Kat has left the frame.
Well, she's gone. What did we do? Oh God!
I killed Kat.
Why
I'm
did you
sorry,
drag
Kat. I'm
me?
sorry. On that note, though, I feel like one of my fish shaking those damn kids moments is thinking about how better off kids have it. I mean, the fact that they don't have to pay $40 to find out if a licensed game is bad is great for
Oh
them.
my
They can
God.
Or
download a
like-
free-to-play game, and it's like, oh, this sucks. I'll delete it. I'll try another free-to-play game. So
I
like,
can't be the only person who spent like a ton of money on like the Simpsons games for the NES back in the day.
oh yeah, yeah.
So awful.
I mean,
Uh,
I still buy licensed games. They're called Super Robot Wars,
Yeah.
and I really like them, to be honest. Though the Gundam games, there are some certain exceptions, like Gundam Versus, for example, SD Gundam G Generations. By and large, the games that are actually based on the shows are bad because, as with American games, they're made on a tight schedule, and they're really limited by the actual scenes in that particular show. So doing a straight adaptation has never been super great for video games because, shockingly, video games and movies are very different, and they
Mhm.
don't translate directly from one to another. Obviously, there are exceptions. Spider-Man 2 was, by all accounts, one of the best Spider-Man games ever made. But, I mean, Bandai Namco is one example of a publisher that still leans actually really heavily on its licensed
Oh, yeah.
properties.
One Piece, and I just reviewed Arslan Warriors of Legend. Yeah. But yeah, no,
those
I mean-
Naruto games. They love their
Oh,
Naruto
that's true.
games.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the director of that really, really, really loves Naruto. But yeah,
I've
like
seen
you
him
were,
cosplay as Naruto in person.
multiple times,
Yeah.
multiple times.
Wow.
But yeah, like you were talking, like most of these days, like Iron Man 2 was probably the last like major licensed like superhero game. On mobile, kids have like Marvel, I believe it's Future Fight, and then the other one's Contest of
Hey.
Champions.
Marvel, I mean, the Marvel fighting games.
Yeah.
Marvel versus Capcom still a thing. Came
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
what was it, when the Vita came out.
Mhm.
I mean, so, and that's
But,
still
like,
a thing.
Yeah, but like Future Fight and Contest of Champions, they just release extra characters. They're like, oh hey, this movie is out. Here's some characters from the movie.
And God knows
Aren't you
Disney
happy?
loves a mobile.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
It is
No.
weird that there aren't more superhero games in particular, given how completely they've taken over, well, frankly, both Netflix and the and the cinemas. I mean, I'm not talking about making a direct Marvel Civil War adaptation for video games. I'm talking about setting a video game in the Marvel cinematic universe, where I mean, you take control of, say, like a lesser known character. And maybe have your own adventures and occasionally interact with the Avengers, or making a Spider-Man game where you go, okay, now you're Spider-Man, and oh look, there's Tony Stark, he's putting in an appearance, and Sam Wilson, hooray, and all that stuff. It feels like a real missed opportunity for Marvel in particular, but as we were talking about, I think last episode maybe, or 2 episodes ago, like Disney is killing a lot of its video game stuff, and
Yeah.
its mine just isn't on that, so I guess it's not
Yeah.
surprising.
I
I
feel like
think
for a
that
major
will happen.
company, what's that, Mike?
So I think that will happen. Probably they're going to get another game deep into the Star Wars license.
I mean, look at the Arkham series. That was
Yeah.
extremely
Yeah.
successful until, I mean, the most recent one came out, what, last year?
Mhm.
So-
And that
Yeah,
was still
the-
successful despite the
Arkham
PC
Knight.
version just like tanking hard.
Exactly.
For
But
reasons.
I think once the Star Wars license is another game deep and Disney can go, okay, this is easy money for us. I think Marvel will probably get farmed out to somebody. And the rumor is that Insomniac is doing
Oh.
a Spider-Man game for
Ooh.
PS4.
Finally,
That would
they
be
can.
much better than another Infamous game because I feel like those games want to be Spider-Man, but
I was
they're
about
not
to
really
say.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm killing Mike.
How
I
dare
killed
you,
Cat and
sir?
I'm killing Mike.
How
But
dare
wouldn't those games be better if that was Spider-Man jumping around, not like Hoodie Man number 464?
I guess that, yeah, okay.
Hoodie
yeah.
guy.
Hoodie
I mean,
Man.
I'm
Or
still
Hoodie Girl.
dying because like X-Men Destiny was like everything, like the premise of X-Men Destiny was everything I wanted. It's like, oh yeah, you make your own mutant and then you're there with the X-Men, and it was horrible.
Oh, it was bad.
And I just want someone to deliver on that, and I keep hoping, and it'll never happen.
I mean, there's a really good game to be made out of a modern X-Men game where you
Oh, yeah.
create your own X-person and go to Professor X's place, and you get to explore the grounds and go on missions and get loot and meet all of the other mutants and maybe join with them on a team. I know that, what was it, 15 years ago on the PS2, you had those X-Men kind of Diablo-like games.
X-Men
Oh, the-
Legends, I think.
Legends
Yeah.
and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which were still
people
like
love those
excellent games.
Yeah, so there's certainly fertile ground for licensed games. As for Platinum, does it worry you, Bob, that they're taking all of this work for hire stuff on?
I mean, I think it's an inevitability with the kind of console games they make, like super hardcore games for people who love video games, not people who are just like, I'll try these video games out. No, people who have been playing games, people who know games inside and out. These are what they make. This is the audience they make games for. At the same time, it's hard to get mad at them because it's like they're doing the best they can with what they're given, and I don't think they were given very much. If I could make a pizza analogy, if you don't mind, it's sort of like saying, okay, Gordon Ramsay, we're going to hire you to make us a great pizza, and he's like, okay, and then they walk him into a Little Caesar's kitchen and they get to work. Like the
And they get to
ingredients
work.
they're being given. What's that?
And
Little
get to
Caesars
work
is
in
all
like 10 minutes. Like, yeah, we need a gourmet pizza in like 10 minutes. Get to
Yeah,
it.
like we need a $5 calorie slab for your family, essentially.
And they're putting their, well, no offense to the people who are making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, a lot of them are younger and newer developers, kind of their B team. Their A team isn't necessarily working on these games. And it's kind of an opportunity for these developers to maybe cut their teeth, move into the more ambitious projects. But so yeah, I mean, it's money, right? And as long as
It is
Platinum stays alive, I'm happy because they're certainly one of the most interesting studios, major studios still around in Japan.
Yeah, and sadly, these licensed games, some of them may sell more than Platinum's own original work.
Oh yeah, I guarantee you, for as mediocre as this is, it will outsell Bayonetta 2, everything else they made. Beautiful
Wonderful
Joe,
101.
Wonderful
Yeah.
101. Well, that game sucks, but yeah,
Just like that.
Wow.
Oh, God.
it's a bad. You know
look
how
at
long
that.
I've tried to get into Wonderful 101? How many times I've tried like the first 3 levels only to fail them over and over? That's a very hard game.
Look at that. We are at 11 minutes, so we should move on
Maximum
before
assault.
Bob gets himself into
Who,
some...
who else can I throw under the bus today?
We are together, that we are the strongest. The true battle starts now.
And for topic number 2, we have Nadia Oxford with... Go for
Well, I am going to talk a little bit about something that popped up very recently. The latest trailer for Mighty Number 9. And saying that name is like inviting a swarm of vengeful ghosts to descend upon you. It is a very controversial game for many reasons, not the least of which is delay after delay after delay. And I have to say, the new trailer, it's embarrassing to say the least. Like, when you watch it, you very much get a vibe of, like, an old Sega CD commercial. Like, well, you have a Sega CD yet? What are you waiting for? Nintendo to make one? The guy's just... It starts off with the guy saying, hey, do you like awesome things that are awesome? And it's like, oh my god. Like,
Yeah,
So
The marketing
they're
feels like
intentionally
13
going for
years
that
old.
90s feel.
well, it's like running for a hip kids 101. Like, it is trying way too hard. And if they had just not said anything, or even just kind of put in, like, regular old buzzwords about, like, this game is cool, go ahead and play it, I don't think anyone would have protested so much. But here's the thing about Mighty Number 9. It's really, really under a lot of scrutiny right now because there's so many bad feelings about it. And I really kind of feel a bit for Concept at this point because I'm pretty sure Deep Silver, the publisher, is the one who decided, hey, let's make this lame ad that costs $2 to make.
Yeah.
So it's just, like I said, they're being scrutinized right now, and any tiny error, people are going to pounce on it. I'm not going to say if it's deserved or not, but the fact of the matter is they should have put a little more thought into this, and the fact they didn't is kind of
It's weird that they buried the lead. They shot the lead and they buried it because it's like all they had to say was, Mega Man. Well, here's the guy who made it. He made another game. Buy it. There's no mention of Mega Man anywhere, and they're allowed to say that. It's like he literally worked on those games.
Oh yeah, I guess they can say that he worked.
They can say Inafune worked on Mega Man. Sure.
Like from the creator of Mega Man. Wink. Yeah,
that's true. They did bury the lead a little bit, but yeah, but at the same time, the game itself in the trailer did not look super great.
Yeah,
it looked really cheap.
You were talking 90s era. It looked like a Dreamcast game, and not like a particularly great Dreamcast game.
No, it looked like a budget XBLA game from 2007. I mean,
you're right.
I've played.
You're talking in the Slack channel, and seeing the protagonist's blank, unmoving face was just kind of bland and lame. Like even Mega Man blinked. Like this guy just has a frozen death stare.
And it's really too bad because so this game has been in development for 3 years now. Yeah. It started in 2013. It might have been even before that. Well, no, they just had concept art to show when they were originally doing Kickstarter. And the concept art was really great. And full disclosure, it got me on board. I put $60 into the Kickstarter because I was like, oh, this is going to be great. The game's going to be really fun. I could go for another Mega Man type experience. I'll get neat box art from it, whatever. And I don't know, from that point on, it's been just a succession of bad news. And perhaps worst of all for them, in 2014, Shovel Knight came out. Yeah. And Shovel Knight so completely stole its thunder because not only is it a spectacularly well-made kind of Mega Man-like game, it's not a clone. It has a lot of different ideas going on in there. Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous. It's an amazing-looking game and so artistic and so fun. And it makes, I'm sorry to say, it makes Mighty Number 9 look really budget. And a lot of that is to do with the 2.5D graphics. But even then, 2.5D can look okay.
It can look good. But Mega Man X8 uses 2.5D, and I like the graphics. I like the way it looks. But
I'd also like to point out that Inti Creates, who is helping Concept with the title in 2014, as well put out Azure Striker Gunvolt on 3DS. Yeah, and actually released it on PC on Steam this year.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And then I've
had it on my 3DS for what seems like forever.
Yeah, and then they have Azure Striker Gunvolt 2 coming out for 3DS this year. So they've made 2 games in the time they've apparently worked on Mighty Number 9.
Yeah.
And Azure Striker Gunvolt looks far better. I don't know if it plays far better. I mean, Mighty Number 9 could play like a dream, but Gunvolt looks much, much better. More what you would have expected for a
Mega
Man game. And especially, this has been on my desk. I carry it with me all the time.
What is that?
This is Mega Man ZX.
Yeah, that's a great game. I like that a lot.
Yeah, this is the case that I carry all of my 3DS and DS games when I travel. So
it's very pretty.
But Inti Creates does great work, and Mighty Number 9 looking like it does is.
It's kind of baffling.
It's surprising because it's a veteran developer at least. I can't speak for the actual development team, but Kickstarter's been kind of hit and miss. But Obsidian did their Kickstarter a couple months before Mighty Number 9's Kickstarter hit. And they ended up putting up Pillars of Eternity last year, and Pillars of Eternity wasn't perfect, but it was pretty much what everybody wanted out of that particular game. And I'm just surprised that Inafune and company didn't seem really to understand what people wanted out of this game, which was to say a attractive, fun to play, really authentic retro platforming experience, and instead it feels like something that came out of a third-party developer and was whipped up in 6 months, and that's probably incredibly unfair to Mighty Number 9. It has great frame rate, but
Yeah, the frame rate's fine.
They're not moving around a lot of polygons, so
Yeah.
What's the one you played, Bob? That I just played. 20XX. Even 20XX is indie, and that looks better.
yeah. I mean, it's a blatant Mega Man X ripoff, but it's still a lot of fun. It's like a Mega Man roguelike, right?
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Play that one.
Everything's a roguelike. But Mega Man, I would say Mighty Number 9 was a feel-good story when it came around in early
Yeah.
2013, of the Japanese industry kind of coming together, both the foreign side and the Japanese side, and really being like, we're playing on our heritage, and we're bringing, and in a way, we're bringing back this beloved property, even if wink wink, it's totally different. And it's kind of degenerated into kind of a cautionary tale, which
And
is
how much did they
Yeah.
take in? How much?
a lot of money. It got,
3.8
$3 million.
million.
it got a lot of hype. It got a lot of hype.
Oh,
It was-
That's a
3.8.
lot. That's
It
more
was
than I
a lot.
remember. I think that's before the Kickstarter skepticism kicked in, when people were a little more wary about how much they wanted to give and who they
It
wanted
really
to give
struck
to.
when the iron was hot, because this was during
Yeah.
the big boom still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
Double
everything.
Fine's adventure and
Yeah. Because the Double Fine Adventure and the Obsidian Kickstarter both
Mhm.
hit in late 2012, and then this was early 2013. So the excitement was still palpable, and the disappointment hadn't had time to set in yet.
Yeah.
Alas, but at least
I mean-
we'll have Shovel Knight.
We
yeah,
do.
I wouldn't mind. I don't care about delays. I just wish the game looked a bit better than it does.
That's
it
it,
could come
like-
out in 2
But
years.
it could be
but
good.
I mean,
we're just
yeah.
basing it on a trailer. I mean,
And I have played the beta, and it's okay. I just
Maybe
want to
it's
see
alright.
more of it.
maybe the trailer
Yeah.
will be good. It's coming out in less than a month. So
Oh yeah, it was at E3 last year, wasn't it?
yes,
It
it
was
was.
like-
I played
like
it very
right-
briefly. It was okay.
But yeah, Shantae's been delayed for many, many times. But I think the difference is there's been communication when something's gone wrong, whereas
Mm.
Concept was very infamous for not saying anything when delays happened and why.
Mhm.
So, and
Way,
then-
Way Forward is probably going to deliver. I mean, they're
Yeah, I love the Shantae game, so I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that one.
Eh,
But if
we'll
you have
see
to
about
take
Way
the time
Forward.
to do it, it's fine. The time isn't an issue. The problem is, okay, you're doing all these delays, you're not telling us what's happening, and the game doesn't look like visually
And-
doesn't look really appealing.
I don't want to cast
And they also had
aspersions
two
too many-
Kickstarters. They also had 2 Kickstarters during the production of Mighty
Yeah.
Number 9,
That too,
which
they had Red
made people
Ash.
angry. I mean, I wasn't mad about it, but it seems like one thing at a time, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
you were saying, Kat?
I don't want to cast aspersions on Wait Forward, but I wonder if they had kind of a large brain drain not too long ago, because all the
Oh, the
Shovel
Shovel
Knight
Knight
people
guys.
left, and given the
Ah.
quality of that game, you wonder if they didn't lose some of their best people to an indie startup, essentially.
Yeah, that definitely would hurt. So, but and hopefully it'll hit. But I'm not like super worried about that game.
Yeah, it's like
But-
one day I'll wake up and it'll be there, and it's like, okay, that's cool.
And even Inti to Creates is working on Bloodstained, whatever of the night.
Ritual of the Night.
The Koji Igarashi game.
Yeah, Ego with his something of the something. Um,
Something of the music.
that from what we've seen so far looks pretty good too. So I just maybe Inafune just is spreading himself a bit too thin. I don't know.
Could be. We'll find out soon enough.
They're power-ups, stuff that'll make you faster and stronger and make the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night. So what do you think? You ready to play? I'm ready. No one's talking to you, Vernon.
And now for our last topic of the show, we have Kat Bailey. What are we going to talk about, Kat?
So you may have noticed that there's been a bunch of DLC hitting already this year. So you see Blood and Wine's coming out this week. No, the end of the month, and there's also the new XCOM DLC. Like, just it seems like a billion pieces of DLC have been coming across my desk lately. And but the one that stood out to me the most was Far Harbor, which is new Fallout 4 DLC, which I wrote a bit about on the site recently. And it's really got me back into Fallout 4, which is really great because I liked Fallout 4 a lot when I reviewed it. It ended up getting, I don't know, Bethesda games are held to kind of a weird standard because they inevitably put out exactly what they say they're going to put out, and they're like usually really amazing world-building RPGs. But then inevitably the naysayers come out and they'll go like, "Oh, this game is complete garbage, and look at all these bugs and everything." And I'm not saying that those
buggy.
It doesn't. I'm not saying that it's not like that. Bethesda should always go scot-free, but I've always just been so impressed by the sheer scale of their games that it seems a little churlish to be going like, "Oh well, but look at this bug." Anyway, so Far Harbor is actually everything that Fallout 4 should have been in terms of factions. And the reason I say that is, so if you've played Fallout 4, and I'm not going to spoil too much here, but you know that there are 3 major factions, and inevitably you end up siding with one of them, and you have to side with one of them. You can't, I would say there's kind of a 4th faction. You can be the Minutemen, but I haven't sided with those guys, and that's quote-unquote your independent route. But you have to side with one of the 3 major factions pretty much, and you end up killing the other 2 factions. And it's kind of a drag, and a lot of people are like, well, the Fallout, I want a peaceful option. This is too bad. This is going against the spirit of the original Fallout, where you could get the big villain to shoot himself in the head.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because the villain was so bad using your sheer charisma. Well, in Fallout Far Harbor, there are also 3 factions. So you have your Far Harbor town, which is a bunch of xenophobe rednecks who are living in a town surrounded by fog and are distrustful of outsiders. There's the Children of Adam, who you might recall are the religious fanatics who live out in the radiation-infested Stormlands, and they have a much bigger presence here in the DLC than they did in the original game. And they live in a submarine base with a nuclear submarine, and inside that nuclear submarine is a nuclear weapon, which can be used in various ways. And then you have the Synths, who are led by Dima, and Dima looks a lot like Nick Valentine, so you might want to bring Nick with you, hint, hint. And they're kind of a free colony. And the Far Harbor hates the cult, and Dima's trying to make peace between the 2 of them, and a lot of stuff's going on. And then as you dig deeper and deeper, and you start to realize, oh, like, okay, well, Dima seems like a good guy, but he's doing some sketchy things, and I don't know if I want to side with them. And if you want to get, you can get a peaceful option in this game. You can, in fact, get all of them to work together. You can use your charisma a lot, but it also kind of ends up having you be maybe doing some things that might go against your ethics, which I think is great. I like the hard choices that this game is making you do. And to be perfectly honest, I still haven't decided what I want to do. Like, I've been kind of delaying and like doing other things because I'm not sure how I want to proceed. And that's making me do like a lot of role playing, and that's really cool. And at its absolute best, a Bethesda RPG can really make you role play and really get into it because you're kind of carving out your own piece of the world. So what were you saying, Mike?
That's good to hear. It sounds a lot like New Vegas in a way, in that it's more of a cerebral approach. I feel that Fallout 4 is great. Where it let me down, though, was that so many situations just were they ended in combat. Yeah. Where in a real situation, it wouldn't have ended in combat. Like, I'm confronting a scientist in their lab, and I won't agree with them, so they start attacking me with like a clipboard, and I'm wearing armor, and I have like machine guns and bombs and grenades, and they die in one hit. I'm like, why would anybody ever, want to fight me when they are just like wearing a lab coat? So I like the more creative solutions, and it takes a lot more work to make them implement things like that into the game. So I'm happy to hear that they're addressing that criticism with the DLC.
Yeah. And that was my main problem with Fallout 4. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was not what I really wanted from Fallout, which was more of an RPG, more of the New Vegas style. Here's some interesting choices. Here's multiple ways forward. Whereas Fallout 4 is more a super, super detailed sandbox action game. Go to new place, shoot everything there, and look at all of the stuff that you can find or see the interesting water cooler moments that happen from random AI interacting with each other, which is cool. But that's not what I wanted from Fallout, and that's why we're probably on opposite sides of that. I enjoyed The Witcher 3 more because The Witcher 3, at least for me, has more of those interesting, like, make an interesting choice, or here's a complex situation. What are you going to do moving forward? And Fallout 4 just didn't really have that for me.
Yeah, the difference between Witcher 3 and Fallout 4 is that Witcher 3 is like, and we'll get more into this in Axe of the Blood God, which is our RPG podcast. You should go and subscribe and download right now.
You should.
But Witcher 3 is kind of like a TV show, right? You're watching, it's almost like Game of Thrones, and yeah, you're controlling Geralt, but Geralt is very much his own fully formed character, and you can make decisions, and you can kind of influence his decisions, but for the most part, you are you operate at a remove from Blood and Wine, whereas in Fallout 4, you are the sole survivor. You are the one. You can take on so many different personalities. You could be snarky as hell and awful, or you can be like an inveterate do-gooder, or you can be like me and decide to go nuke the children of Adam because they're a scary religious cult and I don't like them. So in that regard, Fallout 4, or Fallout in general, Bethesda RPGs in general, do a good job of really putting you in the moment. And really, it's just, they're both very good in their own way. It's all just separate tastes, but I can understand why you were frustrated with that endpoint. I think that you are definitely not alone in that regard, Mike.
Yeah, and that's, and I'm glad that people enjoyed Fallout 4. It's a game that I'm glad I didn't have to review, but there's so much more out there. Like I have whatever, I'm trying to remember what it's called, the Planescape Torment spiritual successor, Torment Tides of Numenera, on my PC right now.
What? You got that? I hate you. I need to get that.
And then Obsidian, of course, has Pillars of Eternity. Harebrained Schemes has put out 3 Shadowrun RPGs.
Yeah.
NXile did Wasteland 2. There's a number of options for that kind of more in-depth, interesting role-playing. And in fact, as you start to move back towards those style of games away from like the big-budget 3D, super detailed sandboxes, it gets easier to do that. Like, especially once you take out voice acting, it becomes so much easier to provide players with a ton of dialogue options, which gives them a whole bunch of different choices. So I actually kind of feel like the industry sort of has boxed itself in from a presentation standpoint from making those types of detailed RPGs.
You're not wrong. Yeah. I will say, however, that if you want to go back and try out Automatron and Far Harbor, not only do you get a ton of game out of those respective DLCs, I think that, as I said, they address a lot of the issues that maybe you had with the base game of Fallout 4, and gives you a lot more interesting decisions to make. And in that regard, you do get that RPG kind of experience that you want, mated with the really phenomenal sandbox experience of a Fallout game.
Yeah, I kind of wondered. I was playing Fallout 4, and I was like, man, I wonder if Obsidian's going to get to play around with this, which is probably unlikely. But
no, they're
on like Tyranny.
They're making a South Park game right now
too. Oh yeah, they are. They have second South Park game. Yeah. So they have 3 games now, so they're good.
Yeah, and I think that they're never going to work on one of those games again after what happened with New Vegas.
Yeah.
So buggy. So many
It also almost killed their studio.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, well, it's kind of an infamous story that I think that they missed out on a Metacritic's quality score by 1 point and ended up not getting the bonus that they needed that would have kept them in the black. It was bad.
Goodness.
Yeah, you can find the whole story on the internet, but it was
sound
pretty ugly
familiar.
for Obsidian there for a bit.
I know peace can still be achieved.
Peace? You call murdering one of ours peace?
Careful. This could get out of hand real fast.
Indeed, indeed. Well, that actually brings us to the end of our show. That is Cat's 10 Minutes of Topic. And we'd like to thank you for staying and watching from us to you, whether you're watching it on YouTube or on iTunes or however you're enjoying the show. Please subscribe, and please come to usgamer.net to see all of the great stuff that we're always putting up. This is Mike Williams with Kat Bailey, Bob Mackey, and Nadia Oxford saying bye from us to you.
Bye, folks.
Later.
Bye-bye.